So the final question is the software, hardware, and online. How did I integrate that? Well, the integration was a bit wonky, is the easiest thing to say, because in the first trial of it I was taking pictures. I have severe handicap though, as my back camera was cracked and it was going to be very expensive to fix, so I had to go with the front camera only. This was hard as I had to start making some complicated setups in order to take pictures, setting it up on different manuals, taking a ton of different pictures before I found one that would fit correctly and that wouldn't look as bad, as we all know the front camera has a more painful, lower quality than the back camera. So that was a bit of a handicap, and then I started dabbling in Photoshop and InDesign. And you know, I had taken some Photoshop classes way back, but it was still very complicated, as I needed to start finding out, hey, how will this picture fit within this frame? How do I make this look more realistic in style and frame? And so I started going with that. It was still complicated. It was very hard for me to figure out how this would fit within this realm, how this would fit within that realm. But overall, I think I was able to integrate something of value within it, which I am proud of. Now, the hardware, once again, my phone had an issue. I also had to use the school computer. That's fine. I really didn't use too much hardware outside. It was really only my phone and the other computer, because I didn't see a need to integrate anything else. I may have just used some of my old items to take pictures of. For example, my phone, my controller, my mouse, which I took pictures of. If you count those as hardware, I figured those would be nice to be implemented into the system itself, into the magazine itself. It would look very nice, very useful per se. But then, if you look at it as well, online was a big helper, as in this project, going online allowed me to figure out a lot of the issues that stemmed from the project itself, as trying to figure out, hey, how am I going to fit this to make it look nicer, or you know what, how do I mix this together, how would I fix this? And it was all just a big culmination of trying to figure out what would fit and what wouldn't fit, so that I could try to make it look somewhat realistic, somewhat working, as once again, I'm not the best at Photoshop, I'm not the best at InDesign. I put in effort to try to figure it out, but this would take years and years in order for me to perfect it. But I did learn a lot about it, and so if I were to do this again, this would come out a lot nicer. But yes, software-wise, I integrated InDesign and Photoshop. Photoshop was used to alter some of the pictures. Like, I would take some of the pictures and I would integrate concepts of myself. For example, if we saw at the feature spread that we have, you see here I took a picture of myself, and then I have me in the fighting poses to kind of show the different characters. And then in InDesign I had to kind of censor everything, make it look nice, a little background to figure it out. Then you have here with the filter to make it into a different dimension. And then you also have the table of contents, which isn't as complicated. And well, you know, it was a lot of work that I had to put into this project, but once again I saw that, you know, hardware wise I didn't use too much. It was only my phone and some of the alterations I had to do in order to take a nice decent picture to fit in online with some more research and figure out, hey, how does this fit here, or how would I figure out how to do these issues.